Hello everyone. Today, we are going to be discussing the Bayesian versus frequentist schools of statistical inference. Now, rivalry and debate are cornerstones of many aspects of our world. In the sports world, we have Verstappen versus Hamilton. Every 4 years, we see furious fighting about deciding the next president of the United States. And in the world of statistical inference, there is a deep debate between the Bayesians and the frequentists. But what do these schools say? Why is there a difference? And does this debate even matter at all? While Bayesian methods were developed over 250 years ago, frequentist methods were only developed in the 20th century. Frequentist thinking then quickly grew in popularity and dominated the field for quite some time. This was until the advancement of computing and development of methods such as Monte Carlo simulations, which allowed Bayesian thinking to become more broadly useful. Today, although frequentist methods are taught to most undergraduate students, they are both used in the world of statistical inference. Our friends the Bayesians treat the parameters we are trying to estimate as random variables. This methodology works by establishing a prior distribution holding our previously held beliefs. And then, after conducting an experiment and collecting some data, we can then use Bayes' rule to update this into a posterior distribution. This works very intuitively in the sense that we take a set of current beliefs and then update them based on new information we've received to get a deeper understanding of the parameter we're trying to estimate. To see how this works, let's analyze an example. We're going to see if I can score a date for this upcoming weekend. Now, I will measure the likelihood of this by running an experiment where my friend asks them if they want to go on a date with me. Our test has a 0% rate of a false negative and a 1% rate of false positive. Now, I need to be 95% certain that the girl likes me before I ask her on a date because I hate rejection. And my friend has just told me that a particular girl does like me. I've asked my Bayesian friend to work out the probability that I can get a date, given the good report from my friend. He can do this by applying Bayes' rule, like this. However, to compute this calculation, the Bayesian also needs a prior probability, a probability that any given girl will be willing to date me. Now, I'm an optimist, so I've assumed this probability is just 0.1%. As such, by doing some calculation, the new posterior probability that I can get a date, given the good report from my friend, can be calculated to about 9%. This makes sense, because for about every one time that I do get a date, there will be 10 false positives leaving me rejected. So unfortunately, I'm not going to ask the girl out, and I'll be lonely forever. However, my frequentist friend has walked in the room and has something to say. Now, the frequentist works by treating the parameter as a singular value. This approach doesn't need any prior assumptions and instead builds up understanding of the value of the parameter by increasing the sample size of the data. By looking at more and more samples of data, this approach gains more information about what we're trying to estimate and moves closer and closer to the truth. Now let's see how the frequentist deals with this romantic situation. Now, in contrast to the Bayesian, the frequentist doesn't need to assume anything about the base rate of girls wanting to date me. Instead, the frequentist knows that the probability that a girl tells my friend they like me, given that they actually hate me, is only 1%, which is quite low, actually less than 5%. Therefore, we can safely assume that the girl likes me. Hold on, what's happened here? We have two different answers. Should I ask them out on a date? The Bayesian says no, but the frequentist says yes. Well, actually, what has happened here is that the Bayesian and the frequentist are trying to answer two different questions. Going back to our example, the Bayesian view is trying to answer the probability that I would get a date, given that they said they liked me. This accounts for situations where someone doesn't like me, but provides a false report to my friend, and also when they do like me. In contrast, the frequentist view is looking at the probability that someone who does want to date me will tell my friend they like me. This minor difference is the source of our contradiction. As such, is there a clear better method? Personally, there are times where Bayesian inference does feel more intuitive and more aligned with my personal thinking. However, frequentism's lack of prior assumption is also quite appealing. Ultimately, in the world of uncertainty that is statistics, it seems more useful to have two techniques to approach a problem rather than one. And in many cases, they actually provide very similar answers and can even be used together to provide even better results. While it is important to challenge and question the methods we use, I believe both methods can be used effectively to make inferences about the complicated world we live in today. Thank you.